Friends, it is the first episode of 2018 of hashtag No Filter Friday here on Public House Media. And I thought, why not do a recap episode? Because you know what? Not tomorrow, but the next day is the Golden Globes, which is the first of many of award show season. And I've told you on several times on the show that this year's award show season is going to get buck nutty because of all of these sexual misconduct allegations and blah, 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 blah. And it's not necessarily because of what people did, perhaps, but it's the poo that is going to be flung from studio to studio trying to cut other people out of award show season. See if they can win by fighting dirty, I suppose. So, happy 2018 all. If you're just now joining me in this crazy rundown, we have covered Harvey Weinstein, Brett Ratner, Matt Lauer, how to work in the industry as a child or a recently of age adult, and not get molested, or try not to get molested. What else have we done? I mean, every week is a new story. I try to plan my episodes, but like honestly, every single day something new comes out. Every single week it's a new person. Sometimes I know them, sometimes I don't know them. TJ Miller was a good example of somebody that I do know. That particular episode got a little bit messed up because of a bad internet connection. I got caught off like halfway through, but that was a really fun one, was doing TJ. I also did my friend, I did an episode talking about my friend Carter Osterhaus and how an old makeup artist came out and said whatever it is that she did. So things have happened over the past couple months, and some of them are really, really salacious, and then other ones are like, really? Seriously? So, with that being said, we have all this tea here to spill. Where it is. There it goes. There's the tea for spilling. I'm getting my lipstick all over this mug. Look at it. Look at it. It's too much. So I thought, it's a new year. Let's recap from all the shows from 2017, and we will get into the cyclone bomb of sexual misconduct that's about to happen to Hollywood. The East Coast gets a cyclone bomb of snow. Hollywood is getting a cyclone bomb, but it's of chickens coming home to roost. So, with that being said, let's talk about Mr. Harvey. Mr. Harvey Weinstein, the first of the real sexual allegations that came out that triggered this chain reaction, which is great, wonderful, fantastic. So he has been thrown out of the Academy, thrown out of the Producers Guild. I think he got sent away from the Weinstein Company. So he's out on his own now, which is probably a good thing. Bob Weinstein's still over there at the Weinstein Company, so we shall see what fruit that tree bears. He released not a backhanded apology, but like he tried to explain himself badly at the behest of Lisa Bloom, who was then representing him. Didn't really do him much good. I think saying that you grew up in the 70s and 80s when things were different in the workplace just made things worse, because what he meant to say is, I grew up in the 70s and 80s and we had no idea the internet was going to become a thing, so I thought I was just going to get away with this. That's what he said. And then it got worse when the New Yorker put out an article, talking about how he spent like $600,000 on private investigation companies to build decks on Rose McGowan, and Rosanna Arquette, and he was using former KGB agents, former Mossad, to run around and see if they can get these girls to say and do things that would help him. And that was really, I don't think anybody could come back from that story, honestly. Like, it was one thing for the stories to come out that was bad enough. And then it came out that his contract with the Weinstein Company said that, whatever he did was his own business so long as he paid the damages. That was terrible. That was bad. And then after all that, it came out that he was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to keep victims quiet. That's bad news. It's real bad news. So, old Harvey will not be kicking it around award show season, but I'm sure Bob will, and I'm sure other people from the Weinstein Company will probably be around the Globes, the SAG Awards, the Oscars, the BAFTAs, what else is coming up? I mean, it's the season for it. All of the Guild Awards, DGA, PGA, WGA, all the union awards, which aren't a super huge deal, admittedly, but it's still something, so they're going to be around, and who knows what kind of mudslinging is going to happen then. And then we have the illustrious Brett Ratner, who has a lot of people surrounding his story of him trapping girls and making them blow him in various parts of the country. So he lost his deal with Warner Brothers, so he's totally out of a studio for that, even though financially, I don't know that was like the right decision for them, because he did put up the risk for the first Wonder Woman. His company did, Rat Pack did. And then he got thrown off of the second Wonder Woman at the behest of Gal Gadot. But, what Wonder Woman says goes. Point blank, period. So, she's Wonder Woman. You can't say no to her. She'll beat you. Old Brett, and then Matt Lauer. Oh my goodness. What's his face? The host, the little dude, the host of the not the Tonight Show. Anyway, the guy that's hosting the Globes has promised a politically charged Golden Globe ceremony, which, when has it not in the past, 5 years? It's always politically charged. Who cares? The ratings are terrible at this point. They should really knock it off. But that's the way they're going because they can't help themselves. And I'm sure Matt Lauer is going to catch it up one side and down the other because he's a news guy and he doesn't have any skin in this game, but everybody knows who he is. So he is a perfect target for to be the butt of many a Golden Globe hosting joke, which is going to be interesting. I was just seeing somebody went live on Facebook today, and they were Jay Leno was doing a stand-up set somewhere, and he was just, undressing Matt Lauer, just undressing him. So I feel like if Jay's doing it for nothing, the Globes will do it for something, for sure. And then to cover our how to avoid the terrible awful that is being committed against kids and naive people across the industry, I did an episode with some advice from Jonathan Lipnicki, a.k.a. the kid from Jerry Maguire, who knows a thing or two, and he has really, really good parents, so that's how he made it to the other side of things. And we talked about how you can avoid being a target for the pedophilia that is rampant in this town, which it is. It is so rampant. I went to a screening last night of The Tale of Two Corys, which is a movie that they've recently made. Corey Feldman's been a friend of mine for a few years, and he's helped me out tremendously whenever I have Hollywood questions like, oh my goodness, what do I do? Call Corey Feldman. He'll give you an answer. And most of the time, he's right. I have to say. Very appreciative of him. One of Lipnicki's best tips of advice, which I didn't think of, was once kids start working and they're able to negotiate a little bit more, you can demand the studio teacher that really fits your situation, and they act like social workers. They're kind of like a half teacher, half social worker kind of a situation, so they can help keep eyes and ears out for predators and hopefully shoo them away, hopefully discourage them, because being made to be alone is how any predator works. And that goes double for pedophilia in Hollywood. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything by yourself ever. Always have a witness. And if you don't have a witness, there's this app called Alibi that I just learned about. Use it and abuse it. The first time I ever met with my friend Rod, who's a publicist. I was publicist shopping at the time, and we became great friends ever since. He was like, you need to record every single conversation that you ever have in this town because you never know if you're going to need it. And it's 100% true. Record everything, get the Alibi app, and you know what? Watch your children and care about them. Don't just send them off with whoever, even if you think they're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's not the case. It's not true. Like, there's not one person that can make or break you. And that's another thing that predatory people will tell you. Like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. No, you're not. You don't matter. If you mattered, you wouldn't have to be a predator. Problem solved. Oh my goodness. Do you love the public house media going on underneath here? Look how cute it is. I'm so glad I made this cup. It's so perfectly fitting for the show. In addition to that, an upcoming show I'm going to talk about, because on Sunday, during the Golden Globes, Anita Hill and a couple other ladies have put together a foundation of sorts, an organization called Time's Up Now, and they're putting together legal defense funds, hotlines, all kinds of stuff for people that might be victims of workplace violence or abuse within the entertainment industry. And phone, that's enough. We don't need to hear that. So they're doing that, and on Sunday they're instructing all of the big actresses that are going to be there to wear black and do their entire red carpet press line and talk about it. And it's true. Like, it's time for this to be over, and we're ladies. It's 2018. We have the resources to figure it out, and figure it out we shall. So I'm going to save the episode on Time's Up Now until a later date after things happen with the Golden Globes, because I'm really curious to see who's going to wear black and yak on the carpet and be like, hey, something happens to you, call this number and we will help you, or we will get you a legal defense, or we will get you X, Y, and Z. I sent them an email a couple days ago, so hopefully somebody will get back to me and we can have a rep from any of those organizations come on and talk about what they're up to, because that was one of my initial questions from day one, was how on earth are we going to pull all of this madness apart? Because when it first happened, it was a landslide avalanche of epic proportions of all of these people saying, hey, everything between, hey, I was raped by Harvey Weinstein to not Michael Douglas. Not Kirk Douglas. I don't know. One of these older guys, like Oh my goodness. He said that I had a fine behind at a movie shoot in 1984, and it's like, seriously? Like, come on. You don't hold a whole press conference for that? No. No, 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 no. And that was what the big question was, like, how are we going to pull apart X, Y, and Z? And it's happening. It's actually happening. Things are getting pulled apart. Stuff like TJ Miller dealing with his allegations with his wife and releasing a joint statement and providing email receipts. Hashtag they have the receipts. Maybe if you're going to come out and say something against somebody, maybe make sure you didn't say nothing in writing. Just a piece of advice. I'm going to point this down a little bit. Or, don't say anything silly at all. Let people that actually have, real problems deal with their situation. And then, or in the case of Carter Osterhaus, another episode that I did here recently, a makeup artist they had on some home rebuilding show, a non-union home rebuilding show like 10 years ago. It's like, we had oral relations on set 10 times, and I felt like I had to do it to keep my job. And then she said that she had told 2 female producers, and they were like, she said it was consensual. So we didn't do anything because she said that she was having fun. So we didn't do anything. So hopefully those kinds of things will fall by the wayside now that a couple of those balls have been put on the tee and they've gotten knocked off. And hopefully we will really dig into the whole meat of things that did happen. E gave Rose McGowan a 4-part series, I think, on what's happened to her. So that's going to get completely uncovered at some point via E, which is a good piece for them because they own so much, not stock footage, but so much pictures and videos of these people with each other at events and things like that. E owns all that stuff. So it's going to be a great move archival-wise, and it'll be great for Rose McGowan to have a platform that is not just Twitter to get that going. But with that being said, there is, now that this Time's Up now situation has come out, and there's, SAG has set up a hotline, and I think a couple of the other unions have, and then I think Women in Film is also either has or is going to set up a hotline. There's people to tell now that aren't the media. There's people to tell now that aren't people that you're directly working with. And people around town are already, they are already feeling the squeeze to be like, oh, what do I do? What do I say? Maybe I should talk myself better. And most of the time, people that are trying to adjust themselves don't need to. But in the event that they are, great. So now that there's people to tell that aren't the media and aren't people that you're directly working with, and, get advice, get legal help, etc., it's going to be a great advantage because if and when somebody approaches you or gets you alone or tries to get you to do something, you can be like, not over here. I will dial this number right now. Don't even play. Don't even try and play games. I'm not trying to hear it. And then if you can kind of combine that with recording your conversations and maybe having the help of having a little help from your friends, you can avoid the terrible awful that can happen when people think that they can abuse power. Which, here's the thing. If people genuinely have power, like truly, it's kind of like money. If you have money, you don't really need to talk about it. If you've been around money, you don't really need to talk about it. It's kind of a neither here nor there thing. Like, it's built in, it's automatic, it's there, no one cares, whatever, cool, bye. And power is the same way. Like, if you have to go around, like, talking about, reciting your resume at every corner and saying, oh, I'm so great, oh, I'm so this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, blah, 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 blah. Are you really? Because if you have to like advertise and talk about it, out here trying to peddle your wares, like, do you even have it? Because if you truly felt that way, then it would just kind of go with the program, and it wouldn't have to be a topic of conversations. Like, my friends with Oscars don't talk about having Oscars unless that comes up or you ask a question or something. My friends with Grammys do not talk about having Grammys. They don't talk about having mantles full of Grammys because whatever, they're there, everybody can see them, everybody knows, they don't give a shit. Sorry. They don't care. They don't care. It's not something that needs to be the topic of every conversation. They don't try to lure anybody into rooms and be like, oh, look at all my Grammys. Look at all my Oscars. Look at all my statues. Like, people don't do that. Like, my one friend that has an Oscar for Best Supporting, she has it, like, on a shelf next to an egg timer. Like, somewhere randomly in her house. It doesn't matter. Next to her, I think she also has a Globe or an Emmy. It doesn't matter. My friend Paul, who has an Oscar for Hustle and Flow, he's like, yeah, I keep it in a Skittles box buried in the backyard or something. Like, it's not part of their situation. And when you're like, it's just or I'll give you another example. The GQ Man of the Year party a couple years ago, kicking it, palsing around, and it was just around the time when they had announced that all the Big Bang Theory casts were all getting $1 million an episode. Kunal, Johnny, Galecki, and then the other little one whose name escapes me. They were all there and partying. Of course, Jim Parsons never goes anywhere, so he wasn't there. But I was kicking it with the other three, and Kunal was like, yeah, we're making $1 million an episode. It's whatever. But it was an elephant in the room. He addressed it, was like, yeah, like, that's what's happening. Everybody knows. Like, there's no reason to dance around it. So if somebody's coming up to you and being like, oh, come over here and look at this, or, oh, I'm so great, I'm so awesome, see these things that I do, look at my IMDb page, like, run, you don't even want to be friends with, you don't want to be around that. So tell people to knock it off and get out of your face, because it's just gross. There was some other fellow, I think his name was like James something, that was like also a friend of Ratner's, supposedly. And James sexual misconduct. A real gross dude. Met Opera suspends. No, that's not it. But anyway, he was this real greasy, grimy dude that had like 3 decent credits to his name, and he would just walk up to girls and be like, I produced this, I did this, I worked with this person, come home with me. And it was like, why? I'm sorry, you're kind of natty. You're going to need more than 3 credits, buddy. You're going to need if that's your shtick, you're going to have to do better. Truly. I think his name is like James. Is it James Tobin? I might be botching that name. Hang on, let me look at it. No. No, not him. That was a really bad guess. And I apologize to Jane Tobin, the Economist, for that misstep. I'm so sorry. Director friend of Brett Ratner. Oh, there's just so many. There's just so many. And then Russell Simmons got dragged into the Brett Ratner situation. Ugh. It's just gross. It's just horrible. And really, too, like, if you're rich and talented, it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't. You shouldn't have to corner or trap anybody or promise them anything. Like, come on. It really shouldn't be that difficult. But with that being said, at some point over the few next coming episodes, we're going to see what Sunday at the Golden Globes holds for us and see what happens when the ladies wear black and start talking, and the mud that gets slung around for studios, whisper campaigns, to see if they can knock each other out of the running. That's going to be super juicy. In addition to that, we still have to get to Louis C.K. We still have to get to Kevin Spacey, which is going to be so juicy. I've been talking to my friend Corey Feldman about coming on the show and talking about his entire childhood being just chock full of pedophiles and horrible stuff within the industry. And then what else do we have? And then we'll see who else gets it. We'll see who else has, terrible things come out for them in the media. So stick around here on Public House Media, or if you're a podcast listener, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review, ask questions, inbox me if you feel like it. If you feel like it's, too twisted for color TV, go right ahead and join the conversation, because I promised you, I told you award show was going to get buck nutty, award show season was going to get buck nutty, and it is going to. It's going to be really, really wild between now and I think the Oscars are March 8th. So we got 2 solid months of buck nutty coming up here on #NoFilterFriday. It's going to be super, super fun. It's going to be scandalous. It's going to be salacious. It's going to be all of those things. So stick around and, check out some of the other shows on Public House Media. There's some, they're nice people shows. They're not grimy. All of them have, nice, lovely, fluffy shows. Mine is, the black sheep. So check them out. Kick around on Public House Media. Give us a like. Leave a comment. Send an inbox. Do what you got to do. But, participate. That's the point of doing a live show, is that so everybody can participate. I forego graphics so I can have a live back and forth with all of you. So happy 2018, y'all. From here at Public House Media and #NoFilterFriday. See you later, kids.